what Parliament does, but how does a Parliament run?
Here at JCOS, we run our own Parliament. It is an exact model of the country's current Parliament. We have the monarch, Prime Minister and Deputy, Secretary of State and MPs. Here at JCOS, we have a head teacher who acts as the monarch, and then we, the students, make up the rest of the Parliament.
We're here in the meeting room with a few parliamentarians. They're currently having their fortnightly department meeting. Let's ask them a few questions. So what are some of the issues that you have faced working with in student parliament?
Well, some of the issues that I faced is cooperating with peers. Often you have different ideas and so you have to compromise and you have to put them together. And also proposal and action. The teachers might not agree with what you want to propose, in which case you have to start again and you have to think with new ideas.
Sometimes actually just once you have an idea in your head and just trying to get it out, it can be quite hard, as other people, including teachers and your peers, don't understand.
I find that sometimes when you have some of your main friends in the same department as you, it's difficult to work together as you don't see them as a colleague, you see them as a friend.
I find it's hard to put proposals into action. It needs to be, easy. It can't be something that would never happen.
Would you ever consider pursuing a career in politics?
I would definitely consider it. I'm very interested in politics and I'm very interested in proposing opinions and things like that. So yeah, I could consider it.
It's one of my options, though I don't feel like at this age I should start to worry, but I think it is one of the options that I would most probably take.
I think that it could be in my list of possible careers, but it might not be the one I go for.
I would definitely consider politics, as I do enjoy it and I find it a very interesting subject. However, I also have other things on my mind.
Lucinda is the Secretary of State for Education here at JCOS, and a few weeks ago she was lucky enough to meet the real Secretary of State for Education, Michael Gove.
I got the opportunity to ask him about his department and the current changes in education. Would you ever consider, if economic conditions improve, reinstating the Building Schools for the Future programme?
Well, if economic conditions improve, I'd love to spend more money on education, not just on school buildings, but also on recruiting more good teachers and paying existing good teachers more. I think one of the things with the All Building Schools for the Future programme is that it tended to concentrate on secondary schools, like this one. And it's great when you've got a really handsome secondary school. But one of the things we know we particularly need to do is to get more primary school places because the population is growing. So if we had more money, my first priority would be to expand primary schools, and then my second priority would be to try and make sure that we have more beautiful and fit-for-purpose secondary schools like this one.
Thank you. In the preceding year, Britain has been through hard times regarding money. So, what precautionary measures have the Education Department taken in order to ensure that schools aren't badly affected?
Well, we try to do everything possible to make sure that the money that we have goes to schools. We've been lucky, actually, in that the Chancellor, George Osborne, and his deputy, Danny Alexander, both believe in the power of education to make our country a better place. So they tried to make sure that the education budget was less affected than other budgets. But even then, we've tried to make sure that the money that we spend at the centre on administration is reduced, so that there's more money for schools. So that means everything from ministers no longer getting bowls of fruit, they have to buy their own fruit, through to all of us only travelling second class on the trains, through to looking at how we spend every penny.
So what has the Education Secretary actually achieved this past year? Well, it depends how you rate an achievement. But if you asked him, he'd probably tell us about the increasing number of free schools that he has set up.
In our Parliament, we've managed to get the teachers to make lessons more interactive. In history, we have played trading games as part of our globalisation topic, and in science we have been doing many exciting experiments. We even dissected a lamb's heart.
So it seems that our Parliament has been really busy and has introduced many welcome reforms.
But what about our real Parliament? Some people say that JCOS only exists because of the achievements of real politicians.
JCOS exists because of the demand in the Jewish community for a cross-communal respectful, tolerant, outward-looking vision for Jewish education. And thanks to the support from local and national politicians, JCOS has had permission to build, has received funding, and has received a great deal of support.
So JCOS is a parent initiative school, which means that it really exists because a group of parents wanted it to exist. But on the other hand, it wouldn't exist without the support of an awful lot of politicians on both sides of the spectrum, national politicians who made it possible for parents to open schools, and local politicians who helped us find a site and have given us a lot of support along the way to get the school up and running and funded to be the brilliant place that it is.
I think the answer is both yes and no. Yes, because I think without the policy in the first place that a community could come up with an idea to create its own school, then it wouldn't have happened. And no, because without the community, the politician's idea and policy in the first place wouldn't ever have come to fruition. I think education and schools and what happens in them is largely decided top-down from above, and then schools do what they will with those policies. And I know that Jacobs is only one of maybe 2 in the country who've actually taken that on board, and it was a Labour decision, and I'm not sure whether the Conservatives have continued with that or not. So I guess largely in the first place, because the policy exists, then yes, it exists because of political decision making, but without the community having come together and really been passionate about it, it wouldn't have happened either. So politics and community together, I think, is the right.
This is Ayala
and Lucinda reporting for BBC School Reports.